Hi guys, welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Cheers. This is it. Oh, third day now. Third day detox. Yeah, hopefully we'll be, yes. Anyway, it's good stuff. Yeah, well, it'll be on sale soon. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Wow. Yes. Lots of things have been happening with that. I'll do a full video on that. But anyway, this is going to be part two. You were all bombarding me with questions and messages regarding the last video I did with children seeing spirit. So I thought I'd just sit down and we'd just have a chat, a nice old chat. I'll recall memories of my understanding of how this all began, where I went with it, and then I'll recall maybe 20 or 30 of my clients that went through this, whether it was children, adults, or grandmas. Tell you all the things that I battled with, all the understandings of the spirit world and of the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, and all of the in between, because all of this is relevant to this conversation. And I'm not so sure many people really talk about the side of things that I talk about, because I think it's kind of, I don't know, I just don't see it. I don't see it out there. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's loads of videos about it, but anyway. So let's talk, shall we? I think it all started with me when I sat down in circle and I saw this image appear. It was a man with a white beard, and he was an old man, and he was laughing from nowhere. No idea. I was in this circle, didn't even know what this circle was about, just closed my eyes. And the lady next to me asked me if I saw anything, and I just laughed and said, "What do you mean?" And my eyes were closed, honest. No, when your eyes were closed, Mark, did you see anything? I said, "No, I saw nothing." And she said, "Just think, just take your time." And I really meant it. I didn't see anything. And then she asked me again, and I kind of opened up to the question. It just shows you how stubborn I am. I'm probably embarrassed as well. So I thought about it. And I don't know why, but I took the brave move and I said, I did. I saw somebody's face. It was an old man with a white beard and white hair, and he was laughing. And all the group was smiling. They knew something I didn't know. I didn't know that, but they turned around and said to me, "Mark, what we're doing here is called a healing circle." Because I went there because I was thinking I was going to sell some jewellery. Yeah, psychic I am. So I went, "Oh, what do you mean heal? Sending healing?" They said, "That's what we do. We choose one person each time we come, and we sit and we send them healing." I thought, "Oh, that's nice." And then she just said it. She said, "Tonight we're sending healing to a gentleman who's in hospital right now, who is about in his 70s. He's got a white beard and white hair. And today we were all told, thank you very much, the healing has been working." And his little granddaughter went to see him today and blew some bubbles in his face, and he started laughing for the first time in months. So what you saw was his face, and what you saw was the healing that we were sending to this man. So you saw the man we were sending healing to. It's a lot to take in that when you hear it. So I went away and I pondered on it. Is it possible? Is it possible you can see somebody who's not in that room? Is it possible? Well, it's a bloody coincidence. It could have been anybody, right? It could have been a woman, it could have been an animal, it could have been a child, but it was this man that I saw. And there might be something in this. So I left there, and as the months went on, as the universe works its magic and gives us signs and helps us in certain directions, and when we choose to see it, we end up finding out that when we are ready, the teacher appears when the pupil is ready. And like perfection in moments of meeting somebody, that perfection that you need to meet that one person who needs to be where you are, who's the only person who can know that about you and to help you about that actually lives only a few doors away, that you didn't even know. So everything just started to happen around me. Certain people appeared, and I started on this path which was challenging for me because I was an auctioneer before, and I'm not really into this kind of stuff, but it was put to me, and it was difficult to turn away from it. So as I continued down that path, I started to learn a different way of life, a different way to see things. And let's say that my eyes, all of them, not just these two, but the other one as well, and my senses, not just the 7 senses, but all the rest of the senses started to awaken, open up, because I allowed that to happen. And in that time that I started to become a reader of people's futures, I also started to do what's called healing sessions. And in amongst those first years, what started to become painfully obvious to me, because it was, that I wasn't alone when I was reading for people and healing people. And it was like, I'll show you what it's like. That. Close my eyes and that's what it's like. That's one of the things, if you know what I'm talking about, that's one of the things, the touch. And you think, this, have I got, like, how many times were I in circle or meditation that I had the touch? It's the touch. There is something in this. It isn't your body nervous system, because this hasn't happened to me for years and years and years, really. Why did it happen then? Why was all of these strange things happening to me? Because it isn't strange, it's normal. So I started to do these healing sessions, and then somebody would say to me, "We're not alone, are we?" And I'd say, "No." And they'd say, "How do you know we're not alone?" And I says, "Well, for some reason, my ear pops and goes, and then stops." And I said, when that happens, I have a grin on my face because I know somebody's in the room. I actually, first of all, thought it was because I lived on a mountain. And as you drive up the mountain, sometimes your ear pops, but it doesn't whistle like this. But I thought, it must be because of the air and all that. As you do, you're trying to figure things out. Well, I do anyway. So this only happened when this happened, or strange things in the room happened, things falling, things moving, just unusual stuff. That was the beginning for me. And then from there, I started to feel spirit. Feeling spirit was a kind of, this person feels like a young girl, this person feels like a baby, this person feels like a grandmother, this person feels like a granddad, this person feels like somebody who's about 35 years old, 37, somebody would start crying. Oh my God, my son died, he was 37. Okay, this is who it must be then, because this is what it feels like. What does he look like? So I'd feel what he'd look like, and I said, he looks like he's got really broad shoulders, really straight shoulders, and they'd start crying even more. They'd show me a photo after, and I'd go, wow, it looks like the guy that I saw. Now, did I see him? I saw him in what's called my third eye. I didn't literally see him, not at the beginning. So that's how it started, and the confidence was something that I needed to get over, because I don't think nobody wants to be wrong. And I don't think nobody wants to say something in that circumstance that you feel like you want to let somebody down. Like, what does this person look like? If you say something, they turn around and say, no, I don't know what you mean. You'll feel really bad because you don't want them to feel bad. And you know, to a point, you don't want to feel stupid neither. And I don't want to get it wrong. I mean, any psychic won't tell you that, but I'm telling you. So I had all of those feelings and I thought, I'm not going there. I don't want to go there. I'm just going to read the cards because this is giving great accurate information. But it's difficult when you're being shown something. Like, oh my God, like what? Oh, nothing. Please, what did you just see? I just saw a girl with beautiful blonde hair. She looks about 8 years old. She's smiling. Oh my God, that's my daughter. She died. She'd be 8 years old now. Wow, okay. So what I did then is say, look, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense to you. But, you know, this is what I'm seeing. And then that came across a lot better for me. Not for them, for me. Because I'm preparing myself saying, look, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. You don't know whether you're right or wrong, but you're just saying what you see, Mark. So if you get it wrong, forget it. You just say it, because there were a lot of times people used to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Then an hour later, they'd ring up and start crying, saying, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't remember that. I can't believe I didn't know. It was this, Mark. It was that, Mark. And a lot of the times I used to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to look at that anymore. I'm going to look at these people in spirit anymore, right? Because I didn't want to upset people. I wasn't really bothered about myself, but preparing yourself to try and help somebody at the most vulnerable point of their life, where they feel they've come to you because they need help. You know, you want them to feel right, but not so that you just make things up or make them feel better and not say things. So it's difficult. So anyway, I got to the point where I learned to say, look, I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to, if you want me to just say what I see, I'll say it. I don't make no promises. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to make you feel better. I'm just going to tell you what I see. And ultimately, Spirit always makes people feel better. Always. And even sometimes it's the hardest message you give them. It seems that when you work with Spirit, they always give the right message at the right time, and they're always strong enough to cope with it, and they can, and that maybe not being the message they wanted, but because of that message, it helped them, and they look back and think, you know, I'm so glad they told me that. So that's how it worked for me for 12 years, solid. So I remember being out one day in Mias Pueblo, and I'd just finished my first half day of clients. So I think I did a 10, 10:30, 11, finished 12:30ish, something like that. And I remember it was about 1 p.m. and I was sat at Bar Porras, and I'm just having a drink. And I think then I was still eating meat then, right at the very beginning, which I don't do anymore now. But I was eating some meat and some bread and coffee, I think, and I'm just relaxing, pondering on the day of what happened that morning, and feeling it and saying thank you, basically, for helping, Spirit coming to help. Anyway, I sees this woman walking towards me, and I'd seen this woman before many times, and people used to say to me, do you notice something about that woman? And I said, other than her following me around the village, no, not really. And they said, yeah, she's strange. And I went, well, I don't know. And they said, well, really, you know, the best time to hit her is on a Thursday. And I said, why? These were people telling me. Why? Because on a Thursday she gets her meds, and then she's a different person. And then when it comes like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is a bad day normally, because she's off her meds. What they meant by that is she talked to herself. And I used to see her talking to herself all the time. And I used to look at her and think, strange woman. Oh my God, right? Prior to doing this work. So I'm sat down just eating, and I look and I see right next to, this was on a Wednesday, I see this girl. She's in her 30s, early 30s. She's walking towards me. She's looking down and she's talking. And I'm thinking, oh, it's her again. But this time, to her left-hand side, there's a figure. And I'm like looking again, and I'm like, that's an older woman with her. And I had to look twice, and then it had gone. And then I looked again, and I saw, and then it gone. It was like, boom, boom, in, out, in, out. And if anybody sees spirit, they'll know this is a kind of common thing, in, out. It's because they're manifesting into one world into another. It's kind of bizarre, a bit like UFOs manifesting in and out, going from one frequency to another. But sometimes you can catch her a glimpse, and I did, and I went, and she was wearing black, I think. I'm not 100% sure, so don't hold me to this, but I'm telling you, I saw a woman, and she was an old woman next to her. It was a grandma. The next few months, I started seeing more and more orbs and the spirit world. You know, different. They come through in different ways. So they show themselves, present themselves, because they're not. That's not a grandma. That's not a child. They're presenting themselves in that way so that you can see and put that message back to them. But I didn't do that. Very rare that I did that. Not on the street anyway. I would never go up to somebody and say out to. The only time I ever did that was a few times when I used to see animals, and then I'd go, oh, like, ah, and then the woman would look at me as if there's something wrong with me. She said, what are you doing, love? And I'm saying, just saying hello to the little dog. What little dog? I said, just a little black and white, like, little dog. And then they start crying. My dog died a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That was my dog. Or I'd see animals and like, so then I go, I'm really sorry. No, tell me a little bit more what it looked like. And then they'd feel happy, and then they'd go and they'd be crying. It's like, okay, so I wasn't crazy. Just like that woman on medication wasn't crazy. You see, guys, there is a very, very dark and demonic energy attached to our way of being, our life, we've got it all wrong. We've completely got it all wrong. And it seems to me that we've gone down a path of pure, I can only call it evil. Because when you start to really look into this work like I did, you'll realize that we all have a gift of seeing. And some people have that gift more than others. Some people are more open and susceptible to the spirit world, and they see the spirit world. But what happened was the churches and all of these other establishments realized that they needed to stop beautiful, powerful human beings and basically dumb them down. They had to sever the connection between the pure love of their gift, which is their spirit, and their connection with the spirit world. So in truth, we all have the gift of seeing our home world, but that has been suppressed, it's been killed, it's been hijacked, and I would wager all my money in the bank that if there was truth and a lie, I would put my money on that they did this deliberately to stop humanity connecting to the spirit world, that then gives us information and helps us along our journey like I do every day. And how do I know this? How can you say that, Mark? Well, not only did children come to me who were seeing spirit, but there was an awful pattern of a lot of mothers and sisters and brothers and godmothers and grandmas and dads coming to me saying, there's nothing I can do because my wife took my child to the doctors referred them to a psychiatrist, the psychiatrist knows nothing about this, then refers them to somebody else, and before you know it, they're on the heaviest of medication. They're out for the count. They're just all over the place, and basically they're dumbed down. So, and the reason why is because the medical industry and psychology knows nothing at all about how to handle beautiful children and adults who have a connection to the spirit world. And what they tend to do, what my understanding of it, because I've sat with doctors, I've sat with psychiatrists, I've sat with science, I've sat with pharmaceutical industry employees, and I've worked with them in ways that we've shared information. And the bottom line is this: the only kind of explanation they can give is a kind of out of sync. They call it, there's lots of names, but flipping heck, what was one of the main things they used to say? A chemical imbalance. I've used that a lot over the years, and there is chemical imbalance in people. There is. But when it comes to seeing spirit, they put them people into the same category. And then they can just bombard them, which drives me insane, with poisons and stuff that just sends them all over the place. And basically, they're practically guinea pigs. They're rats. They just throw anything at them. Did it work this week? No. Throw something else. No, they're still seeing spirit and speaking of. Throw something else at them. Okay? So you can see the anger and the frustration. And I had to then pull them out. And then I had to go through a process which takes a lot longer, by the way. A lot longer to heal because of that crap they put into them and send them all over the place in their head. And then we have to clear the body, make them healthy, and then give them that confidence and help them and reassure them and tell them that it's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. And it's beautiful. And so some of the stories, well, I guess that was one of the stories. This woman still today walks around having the medication. Obviously, I don't speak Spanish well. And, you cannot go up to somebody and say something because, well, you'll be locked up. You'll be thrown in prison. You can't interfere with stuff like that. You can't interfere with the devil's work. And I'm sorry, guys, it's the devil's work. Oh, yes, it's the devil's work. So I have no time for the pharmaceutical industry at all. No time for them. They shouldn't do it. And it's just, that to me is the most dangerous. That is ruining somebody's life completely. But they get away with it. And, if it was the other way around, I think they'd throw me in prison for 150 years if they can. But no, we'll just do that to somebody and just stick them in a mental institution because that's where they belong. Oh, yeah, many times. Many times. I can tell you tons of stories about that as well. So, yeah. Stories about this. Wow, I got loads. One of the things about awakening as well is some people talk about the Kundalini awakening. I don't really go for that. I just think that sometimes when you align yourself, when you do certain things within your body, when you eat correctly, when you move in certain ways, one of the things that my first mentor taught me to do was the Satnam, and what is that? She says, well, the monks do it. Why? Well, it's kind of like Satnam. I think I don't know exactly. It's something about God. Satnam. I don't know, but anyway, that awakens certain things in the body, like the Kundalini. It can awaken that. Anyway, that's not important. That's not really what I'm into. But what I am into is natural health and healing, and I love people's quirkiness and gifts. So there were many people who came to me who could hear spirit, and they were sent to psychiatric wards for many years, and they would come to me on a regular basis, and I'd give them healing and speak to family and spirit for them and talk to the family and spirit and reassure them that they weren't mad. Nope, it's true, you're not mad. I'll tell you who's mad. All of them out there, they're mad, but you're not. That's what I used to tell them. Nothing wrong with you, there's something wrong with everybody else. And that is the truth. But the majority of people don't want to hear that because I'm perfect. No, you're not perfect at all, mate. I'm sorry, but you're not, because you should be able to be in tune with your higher self. You should be able to feel spirit, hear them, and see the signs. We all should. So, hey, I'm not saying I am, because I have to work damn hard at it. But that's what I'm saying. It's us. We've got it wrong, and they've got it right. But because of the church, because of all of the institutions know how dangerous it is for these people to have this gift, well, if you're getting as close to the God energy or source or spirit, they don't want that. They don't want you because they know how powerful that is and how amazing it is. Anyway, so I can give you another story of a beautiful soul who used to come to me for many years. And to anybody else who was in the room would think there was something wrong with her. But to me, there was nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing at all. She was beautiful, wonderful soul. And in time, she grew and grew until she realized that this gift that she had was a gift. And she was very, very fortunate. And she was one of very few people who had that powerful gift of seeing spirit, hearing them, working with them, talking to them. And she ended up being one of these people who started to help people with psychic emergencies. So there is nowhere to go. Where'd you go with a psychic emergency? All of a sudden you're starting hearing spirits, feeling spirits. You go to a doctor and they're going to stick you in, like wrap you up and bombard you with drugs. Totally. And a few years prior, in fact they still do it now, they stick electric shock therapy into your head. It is so demonic, you have no idea how demonic it is to somebody seeing what he's seeing, knowing what's wrong with all of this world. So I hope that I'm speaking to you and giving you information that might help you or other people or your friends' friends, or making you understand a little bit more. It's only a conversation we're having, but it's a truthful, in-depth conversation that would be a workshop that I would give on a Sunday or Saturday about the relevance of seeing spirit. And it's easy for somebody to read from a book and share this information, but when you're speaking to somebody who's worked one-to-one with hundreds and hundreds of people who have this gift, I think that's a good starting place to listen to, because I have experience of thousands of hours. So this beautiful lady ended up becoming a beautiful writer. She ended up being an amazing teacher, and she's just an amazing soul. I've known her for many years now, and very proud that she accepted her gift. And I think that's the bottom line to this. I said it on my first video. I really believe that we need to help people accept that they are what I believe normal, and we are not normal. We are nowhere near as we should be on a level of deep intuition, senses, empathy, seeing, feeling. We're not. We're just so blocked. We really are. And it's not our fault. It's not our fault. We've been beaten, we've been abused, we've been an emotional punch bag for most people. We've been poisoned, we've been drugged, we've been attacked in so many ways energetically. And so you can kind of get why it's hard to be the perfect you. There was a little boy that the dad used to beat the son, and he was from Morocco. The father was Moroccan and the mother was Danish. And she'd bring the little son, who was an exquisite at drawing. He was only about 6, and he'd draw. But his gift was to draw who he saw. And his dad used to beat him constantly because of his gift. His dad, I don't know whether it was religious based, but his dad had this thing that his son was evil because he could see things, and his son would tell his dad things, and his dad would beat him. And it was difficult because they couldn't part. And the reason why is because, there's so much I know about life because so many people came to me with certain reasons. And one of the things that happened was certain men from across the water would, whether this was, maybe I shouldn't say this, and it's nothing to do with it, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, anyway, this people do some bad things, right? And when you're in a situation where you can't leave, even out of abuse, because the law won't allow that to happen, for a woman to leave and go back to her own country, because she would then be deemed somebody who's taken a child away and they've kidnapped the child. You see what I'm saying? Without me saying it. And this is the truth, guys. I know a lot of things that people don't know, but some women can't move out of this country, because if they do, then they're going to get into massive trouble. Unless, of course, the father signs a piece of paper that says, okay, I'll let you take them away, but before you do, I think I'll have 20k off you, or 50k, or 10k, and then I'll sign it, and then you can take him away. You see, I've said it now, but anyway. So yeah, you get to hear a lot of things, and it does affect you as a healer. You just think there's a lot of evil in this world. There really is a lot of evil. And like I said, when I saw this little child, it was beat, and what do you do with that? Anyway, we used to sit together, and the mum used to go for a coffee, and I'd tell her to go to the park, sit down, I'd give her some money, and I'd say, just have a nice meal, enjoy yourself, and then come back whenever you want, come upstairs at any point, at any time. So for the first 3 months, she kind of didn't know, she knew me that well, but she got to know me a little bit, and then she trusted me a little bit more and trusted me a little bit more. So she ended up saying, and I said, look, just go and then come back. And then she'd go and come back. And then next time she'd bring him, I'd say, look, if you want to go and just spend a bit of time, here's some money, because I never charged. She'd go, and then we'd sit together, and he'd draw, or he'd tell me who was in the room. And what I used to do is sit and meditate while he was drawing, and then I'd see spirit or feel them, and then I'd draw it, and then he'd be drawing it before I'd finish my drawing, and they'd be identical. It was amazing. It was absolutely incredible to see. One day I'll write about all of these things, but we'd have similar drawings. So I wouldn't look at his drawing, and I'd draw like the outline of the spirit that I saw. And his drawing was exactly like mine. So I knew he could see spirit. He had a gift. And mum didn't know very much, but she wanted him to be happy and well, and because of the father causing great harm to the son, she thought there's something wrong with the son, and I was saying there's nothing wrong with his son, there's something wrong with the dad, and can I help him? So within the space of, I think, 6 months before they managed to leave the country, I ended up having a bond with him in the sense that he trusted me to open up and tell me things without being beat. And then I said, this is special. Every day I used to, whenever I saw him, you're so special, you're amazing, you're brilliant. Is there any message? Does this person want to say anything? Because I was intrigued, how powerful is this child to feel and know what's being said. And then he'd just say, no, he's just here to say thank you, or he's just here to say the next person who's coming into the room is going to be a woman, and she's going to have a baby inside a body, she's going to have a baby inside a tummy, and he'd be drawing it, and then the next client would come, and she'd be pregnant, but she didn't know it. It was incredible, the power this child had. And to beat that child is kind of like symbolic of what's happened to us in the world. We've all been beaten. We've all been beaten because we're all being told we're all sinners. Beat them, you're a sinner. You know what I mean? And that's why I have an issue with all religions. God save us from religion, because I do believe in a higher energy. But what they've done with it and how they've treated us and abused us, how this world punishes us every day, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see children and adults thrown into institutions telling them that they've got a problem with their brain, there's a chemical imbalance, and throwing drugs at them all the time, when actually that's not true. That's not true. They are beautiful souls that we need to, honor, we need to nurture, and we need to find out what this is, because it's so lovely to know that if we can get these souls who can tell us about the spirit world and share the truth, we can maybe raise the vibration of this world. Maybe we can heal this world, But no, we just stick drugs into them. We just tell them that there's something wrong with them, and we kick them in there. I mean, it's been going on for centuries. I mean, I remember Stores Hall, where I came from at Huddersfield. It was huge. It was famous, Stores Hall. What was it for? It was for people who were mentally insane. No, it wasn't. They weren't mentally insane. Don't say that. You just said that. I actually did my research. Actually, did you know that most of the women in there were actually pregnant? And because they were pregnant and it was against all of the ethics of the English, they'd stick them in there for the rest of their lives because they were pregnant to somebody who didn't marry them. Oh yeah, there's some terrible things we did as humanity. Really terrible things, but hey-ho. So I guess to round off tonight's chat, I hope you've enjoyed it. Love you all, miss you all. Hope everybody is happy. I hope everybody's getting through this clown house, madhouse we're in at the moment. But just on a final note, if you know somebody that talks to themselves, just stop for a moment and just think what Mark said. Maybe they're not talking to themselves. Maybe they're actually talking to the spirit world. And maybe it's you that needs to sort yourself out. And maybe they're absolutely fine, well, and very, very sensitive to all their senses. It's just food for thought. Maybe there'll be a part 3. But till then, take care, and thank you so much for going to markbajerski.com, buying your authentic crystals, oils, incense, and tomorrow, my brand new herbal wild detox tea. Boom. Cheers!